Yes, we do, Charlie. It's neat when you drive by and see all the cars on our lot, and we have most all models and all different colors available, and we even have more than hundreds on the way. We also have the all-new, all-electric 2024 Honda Prologue in stock right now. We have a few of them to choose from. Plus, qualified buyers get financing from just 1.9% APR.
How about your pre-owned selection?
I talk to a lot of my customers and friends, and they still think that we just sell brand new Honda, but we sell all different models, make of pre-owned cars, and we have more than 100 to choose from right now.
Well, maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com, serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
Explain to me again why we're sleeping on the ground.
Because we're thramping. Thrift camping is saving us money and getting us closer to nature.
But we don't need to thramp. I just combined our home and auto insurance with our State Farm agent, so we have a rate that fits our budget.
All right. Do you think our agent can bring us an air mattress?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Jake Buckman back in studio with you. It is time for the Huddle. We'll send it out to Vershawn. He's getting the crowd ready to go as the Huddle is live from the Apothecary. We've partnered with Liberty First Credit Union, Journal Star, and Husker Extra to get this done. A couple members of the pipeline will be speaking out there. So without further ado, I'll send it out to Vershawn. He is live on stage at the Apothecary for the Huddle.
Give it up. Yep, give it up for Brandon Stye, Zach Wiegert, two of the pipeline members. Yeah. Okay, I'm coming right now. Time driving to play presented by Tom Disdale Automotive. Today's driving to play question. Okay, we ready? All right. So we got. You gonna put the question up there? Or I need to read it all. Okay, so hold on a second. Got you. Okay, so I can't see or my eyes is playing tricks on me. I got you. Okay, here we go. I didn't see that, so I was supposed to say before we introduce our featured guest here. Before we introduce our featured guest, now you know why DP said that, right? I just go off the script sometimes. Okay, so before we introduce our featured guest that I've already introduced, let's test your Husker knowledge with trivia questions provided by sports writers at Lincoln Journal Star and sponsored by Ovation Heartword Preserve. All right. I'm gonna send these separately. They will be on the screen. You ready? In 1984, Nebraska went 7-0 versus Big 8 foes, outscoring opponents by an average of 20 points. Which team played Nebraska the closest? K-State, Iowa State, Oklahoma, or Colorado? This is 1984, not 94. 84. Ooh, that was tough. 84? I was 9, so yeah, I don't know. We got K-States? 2-8. Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Okay, time for Driving the Play, presented by Tom. Oh, hey, I might need to get some different glasses or something. No, I'm not giving you that. Which former Nebraska quarterback who now coaches high school football in the state started versus K-State in 1994 as a walk-on sophomore? Travis Turner, Monte Cristo, Matt Turman, or Zach Taylor? Yeah, it was a Terminator. Okay. Bryce Benhart recently became Nebraska's all-time leader in consecutive starts on the offensive line. Who did he pass at 45? Cam Jurgens, Brandon James, Jeremiah Searles, or Matt Farnock? Brendan Hymus. Brendan Hymus? Do you know Hymus? What year? Oh, I know, but what you said starts, consecutive starts. I wouldn't have got that right. All right. Here we go. Tonight's game is the first ranked versus ranked matchup at Memorial Stadium since 2013. Who did the Huskers play in the game? Oregon, Miami, Ohio State, or UCLA? You say Oregon back there, huh? UCLA. Last question. Tonight's game is the 400th consecutive sellout at Memorial Stadium. Which year did the streak begin? Everybody knew that one. That was just 1962. That was the first year of Devaney, the Devaney era. Now I can go on. Time for the Driving the Play, presented by Tom Disdale Automotive. Today's Driving the Play question goes to...
No, I've got the question, sir. Again, there's a camera here. Coach Osborne, I feel your pain. I can imagine sending plays in with VJ. Like, how many times? This is the real question, and I had this planned for the very reason. How many times did you laugh at Rashawn Jackson at something he did in a game?
Oh, multiple times. Yeah, I mean, too many to count. Too many to count, probably. No, he was a freshman when we were seniors, so he wasn't playing a lot in the games then. But he is right. He did come in and say he wanted to work out with us. I would have to say, of all the guys that when we left as freshmen, from improving from a freshman year to being a senior and being a captain, probably one of the biggest success stories, to be honest. Seriously. Absolutely. Don't you agree? I agree. 2-year scout team guy. So, yeah. So I don't have any actual game film. I can tell you all kinds of scout team stuff you don't want to talk about. But.
Okay, guys, one more time. Give a round of applause for DP. He doesn't mean anything that he says about me. He doesn't. I promise you he doesn't. And then give me one more round of applause for Brandon Starr, Zach Wiegert. Now give me a go Big Red. Go Big Red. Oh, I like it. Okay, so we're going to open it up real quick. And I'm gonna turn it over to you guys. And then we'll come back. I'm going to just kind of open it up, and then we'll go question and answer. So if you got some questions, raise your hand. I'll come around with the mic. But right now, I just want them to kind of tell their story.
You're the foreigner. You go first.
I am the foreigner. Well, so going back to being recruited out of high school, I'm from Southern California. I was born in Phoenix, Really grew up a Pac-10 fan as far as football is concerned. Started playing football when I was in third grade. Got into high school. I wasn't the biggest guy, actually. When I was a freshman, I wrestled at 165. I was 5'11". And so going into my junior year, I started getting letters, and Nebraska was one of those. I got a couple other ones from the Big Ten, but there wasn't a whole lot of energy recruiting me from the Midwest to the East Coast. It was more Pac-10 at that time. And being from Arizona, my mom's family's from there. I was an Arizona State huge fan of the Sun Devils. They ran a system that was very similar to my high school. And they just had graduated two guys at the NFL, a guy named Randall McDaniel and a guy named Todd Kalis. They loved to run the football. That was kind of my forte, pulling in space, blocking in space. And so anyhow, the recruiting process goes on. And next thing I know, George Darlington's recruiting me. Don't really pay any attention. I see a couple games here and there, a bowl game, Thanksgiving. And the next thing I know, I'm in class. It's maybe a month out before signing day, and my coach pulls me out of class, and there's this gentleman waiting for me at the end of this ADA ramp, and it's a morning class, so sun's shining in his eyes, got a red blazer on, gray slacks, got one eye open with red hair. And I walk down, and my coach introduced me to Dr. Tom Osborne, the head football coach at Nebraska. And at that point, I had not had any communication with Coach Osborne. It was George Darlington that was recruiting me, and so we walked across campus, and at that moment, I did know who he was. I wasn't naive, but we didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet back then. So if you really wanted to study somebody, you had to go to the library and pull out that microfiche, if you remember what I'm talking about, the old newspaper articles. So we sat down, and I specifically remember him pulling out a piece of paper and saying, these are the guys that have committed to Nebraska. All the best players in Nebraska. Zach being on that list, the Rob Zadichkas of the world, the Corey Schlesingers, on and on and on and on. And then he showed me the national recruiting commits that he had and his vision moving forward and where he really felt like Nebraska was headed. Felt like if I didn't take a trip, because I had not committed to a trip to Nebraska, that I would regret it. And so he and I negotiated that I'd come out the following week, came out with my mom during a blizzard of all things. But it was interesting because my mom and dad are from the Midwest. My dad's from Minnesota. My mom's from Chicago. So there was something in the air for me. I felt like Nebraska just was comfortable. And not only, obviously, with the tradition of the football, the academics, but the people. Very different Midwest feel that I got on my trip. And then within 48 hours, I had Coach Osborne reiterate the fact that they had one scholarship left for me if I wanted it. And it was an offensive line, defensive line scholarship. But the kick was, and this is typical now, even today, when you have a recruiting visit, you meet one-on-one with the head coach. And it was at the end of that trip, after our brunch that morning, all of us get together. You meet one-on-one with coach, and he told me that they had one left. But if I had left Nebraska back to California and didn't decommit from Arizona State and recommit to Nebraska, he was going to give it to somebody else. So it's really my first sales pitch, if you will, at 17 years old. And really for me, it was a no-brainer. And I did recommit myself to Nebraska, and the rest is history. I came on board, the outsider really of a lot of these guys, a California kid, thought I was better than I was, had a long way to go, went through the process of playing behind some really great offensive linemen, playing next to this guy, going through the rigors of 4.5 years. And really, I think by year 4, going into year 4, made up my mind that I was going to entirely focus all my energy, not only on myself, but my team. And we were fortunate. We had a lot of guys that were like-minded. We had some talent. We were hard workers. We lived in the weight room. We lived out on the practice field during the off season. And, for us, it was a combination of all that hard work and a culmination of years of hard work by those coaches, putting together a team and really hitting lightning in a bottle in the end. And so, yeah, that was, for me, it was incredible. I got to play next to Zach for 2 years. Zach's a tremendous athlete, tremendous teammate, smart football player. And so when you surround yourself with players like that, good things can happen. And it did for all of us, it really did. And so we ended up having an opportunity to go play in the league for a while. And And really, I lean on all the things that I learned through the process of being at Nebraska, both on and off the field, to the successes that I had and the opportunities I had in the NFL. So.
Awesome. Well, Brandon gives me a lot of credit, but I played next to him and Will Shields for 2 years with each, so I wasn't that good. They were really good, made me look good. So, different story. I from Fremont, Nebraska. Played at Fremont Bergen. Had 16 guys in my class. Very small school. My senior year in high school, I got mono. Only played 4 football games. Thankfully, I was a really good basketball player, and so I got recruited off of. They're like, oh, he's 250 and can dunk. He can probably play basketball or probably play football. And so I got recruited. My brother was 3 years older than me, so when I came here, I was right tackle and he was left guard his senior year, which was kind of cool. So I think Sty hit it right on the head. You know, coming from Nebraska, it was like, you always wanted to go and play there. So it was kind of an easy pitch to me. But, the thing that I find so funny is you get into the league or talk to guys from other schools and like, well, what they tell you on your recruiting trip and say, oh, I'm going to come in, I'm going to start, and I'm going to be All-American, and, they're going to recruit me in the pros and all, and it's a bunch of smoke, right? And it's so funny as Coach Osborne will come to your house and sit down with your parents, say, well, if he works really hard, he may get on the field someday. I mean, and he literally tells your parents that. And I think all the parents are going like, yeah, about time somebody put him in his place. He's not that good, right? So I think once you get the coach in front of the parents, he's very believable, let's just say that. But best recruiter, not because of he was talking hype or things, but he just told the truth. And fortunately got to play for 4 years. But I think Brennan's right. We had an exceptional class. We actually had our 30-year championship reunion 2 weeks ago, and most of the guys came back. And we were seniors. We were the ones that unfortunately missed a field goal in '93. We won 2 titles also, so we were seniors on that team. But I think, and I said this at our deal, I hopefully what the rest of the younger guys took away is we were good leaders. And I find it interesting that you look like we were seniors, the guys that were freshmen with the '97 team, it kept on. That whole class kept it going the whole time, which is unique to do. It's hard to win 3 championships in 4 years, let alone play for 2 others in that period of time. But very, very, very fortunate. Hopefully the team now is getting that camaraderie back. I mean, it's really hard work, but it's fun. I always just told my kids when playing sports, if you don't play full speed, don't play. I guess I don't know any sport that's fun to lose at, so you might as well give yourself the best chance to win, right? So so I left here, played 12 years in the NFL, and I got offered to keep playing forever, and I'm like, I'm 35, that's long enough. So I must have done okay. Played next to Sty. Actually, we played next to each other in Jacksonville one year, which was kind of fun. We had a little reunion tour. We actually had Rob Zadika down there. We were all on the team at one time. We had a little reunion tour from our line down in Jacksonville one year. So, it was a great experience, and I hope for the kids and hope for the community that we get back to be like that, because it's good for the state too. I mean, I was laughing talking to a guy that owns a bar in Omaha yesterday. I go out there and eat cheese curds. That's my thing. He's got good cheese curds at his place. And he's like, you would not believe the difference in business when we win. If the football team has a good team, he's like, you wouldn't believe how much more excited people are to stay and want to have beers and things like that. So it's great for our state. I try to tell other people in the league, there's no better place to play. You hear the stories from others of like, oh, my coach was this one. I mean, we loved our coaches. We loved our fans. I don't know anyone. I've never heard anyone complain about a coach or the fans ever from our teams, ever. I mean, everyone loved being a member of this team community and the coaches we had. So.
All right. So I appreciate that. One of the things that you said was myself, Lawrence Phillips, Mike Booker, Jamel Williams. There was a lot of guys in the '93 class, and then you go to Zadiska, John Zadiska, that is, Eric Anderson, Outland Trophy winner, Aaron Taylor. All of us was in the same class in 1993. We all came in, and we all had to go through the fire. And it's funny that you would even remember that. Not funny, but I appreciate you saying that, because 1997 was senior league. It was senior led, just like you guys' team, senior led, and we learned from those guys. So we're gonna open it up for questions. Who has a question? Raise your hand. I'm gonna come to you. Oh no. Okay, all the way in the back. I was about to say now. No, we're not gonna. I know we're gonna have some questions out of this group. Or y'all want me to just give them the mic back? Is that what it? You want to get the mic back? Yes, absolutely.
My name is Dee. I was lucky enough to be at the '94 Miami Champions, and we stayed at the team hotel, which we were really lucky to do. And you guys were dialed in that day. Like, I remember seeing Darlington's secondary. Everybody's eyes were just scary, kind of. And we actually saw you guys, the pipeline too, walk by us, and you guys were dialed in. I got a second question though. That was the year the tunnel walk started, and there was a preview, I think the week before it first took place. Did you guys have any input on what the song was going to be or what it was going to be like, the tunnel walk?
DP, you didn't tell me I was going to be working out and jogging back and forth. Where's the other mic at?
Who got that? Yeah, on the tunnel walk thing, I do remember Coach was big on there is no individuals. So we wore warm-up suits, and you all had to wear the exact same warm-up suits, exact same shoes. It's like it's a team, it's not individual. So you don't see everybody fancying themselves up trying to stick out, which I always thought was good. We did get a preview of it, and they had us listening to some of the songs and stuff. And we had actually had a fan night or something before the season. Remember, we walked out, and that's when they had the screens they put in the corner of the stadium. The original Husker Visions, when they had the screens up, and I think there was like 50,000, 60,000 people showed up for it. But we walked out to that song, and they had played a bunch of different songs we'd listened to. I don't know who ended up. I don't remember if we voted on it or what, but we had all heard it before that day. But yeah, they had a pep rally, I guess what you would call, and I spoke, and I think the captain spoke at the deal, and it was quite a deal. I mean, it was they had it at night, so you could see the screens and all that. And before that, we had zero technology. I mean, we used to have like cage lockers, and they gave us an upgrade, and we actually had doors on our lockers that year. I mean, we got important. So,
and some video. We had video games too. Remember, that was pretty cool. One of the things that Nebraska has always been is innovative, right? And when we talk about the tunnel walk, really a lot of that energy came from those guys in creative marketing. So Husker Vision, Chris Anderson, our sports information, she was very creative, not only helping with those type of decisions. The Unity Council, they would preview things and get it, run it through the team. Our Unity Council was our senior leadership. We self-policed outside of any sort of criminal act. There was self-policing that happened with our senior leadership and our Unity Council, right? But like Chris, we used to do posters, and so we got creative there. 2 years in a row, we did the Husker Oh My one coming out of the steam. And then the next year we did the pipeline one, if you guys have seen that, near the culvert. So there's a lot of innovative things that have come out of Nebraska, not only academically, but athletically. And the tunnel walk was one of those. And we were fortunate to be the first team to actually experience that. And, even further, some of the innovation, when you look a little bit further into those eyes that you were looking at before we got on the buses, one of the things that we had an opportunity to do was get around a guy named Jack Stark. And Jack was our team psychologist, and he also helped with Coach Osborne in figuring out a few things that needed to be adjusted with the team, one of them being the Unity Council. But before the game, had to have been 7 hours before the game, 6 hours, we all got together in our room, the offensive line, and we were asked to put together our first 10 plays in our mind, come to that meeting with that in mind. And so essentially what Jack had done with us at that point was he got us into a state of meditation, brought us all the way down, and he had us visualize getting on the bus, getting over to the field, getting our pads on, going out, warming up, and going through all of this exercise, and then getting into the game, running through those plays, seeing ourselves win. And then boom, by the time we were done with that exercise, we were, here we go, we're ready to roll. And for me, and I don't know if Zach used it, but that kind of visualization is used to this day. Like, sports psychology is huge right now. But being able to kind of visualize success and understand in your mind, you're completely prepared. But seeing yourself go through those type of things really helps, I think, from the sports psychology part of it. So there's another innovation part.
I would say myself, I was pissed off from the field goal still the year before, and I looked like that the whole year. Every practice, every game, I pretty much had that look every day the whole year. I was so mad about losing that football game. So
here's another little tidbit that I guarantee Zach forgot. So before we left for the bowl game, Coach Osborne had hired a company to come in, and essentially what they did is they designed ear molds for us. They injected whatever it was, the material, and it was like a little subwoofer and a tweeter in our ears to offset the noise during the game, because you remember that was a home game for them, right? And the crowd noise was going to be something else. You know, he would put the crowd noise on during practice, but we had these molds that we wore, and it's twofold. One, the noise, if you were to be at a concert and sit in front of a speaker and not do anything but just sit right in front of a speaker, it is proven scientific fact that it drains your energy. And then the other part of this is being, you know, quarterback under center, and it's loud. Back then we didn't have necessarily, we had a great audible system, but you had to hear it. It wasn't something that was just programmed on a clap. That's been much more improved and upgraded. If it does get loud, you can communicate through different signals, different signs. But it gave us the ability to drown out the noise from the crowd and hear Brooke or Tommy behind us. You remember that? No?
I got a question. You guys are a part of a pipeline that we haven't seen around here in a long time, right? I think they carried that torch in 97, maybe a little bit in 2000. Where did the original pipeline, the idea, come from?
okay. First of all, the only pipeline was 1994. Those rights were not given to anyone else. And if you look at the poster that said pipeline, it was our class, right? So they've used it forever.
Right.
I don't, but that was the pipeline. That was it. See right here. Reunion as well. We were sitting around, and it was Graham, me, and you in the weight room. I'm sure Rob was there too. And we were like, how can we differentiate ourselves? This is like right after 93 in the off season. We're like, we got to, you know, change what we're doing. We got to get different. We're saying, okay, everyone back then wore their socks low. We're going to wear old school. We're going to wear high knee socks, those old tube socks. Okay. We're going to wear our socks high, because that's what they did with old school, you know, hit them in the mouth football. That's what we're going to promote. And then we started talking about, okay, what's a name we could call ourselves? And we called ourselves the Nebraska Pipeline. You know, obviously the Alaska Pipeline was a big deal. So we thought it was catchy, and it really did catch on. I mean, the name got out, and nationally, I mean, we were on the cover of Sports Illustrated preseason. Our offensive line was that thing. We're all fat sitting on that slide. So one of the best, well, it's called X now, but I don't have any of that stuff. But somebody tweeted like the toughest thing in that picture is the slide, which I thought was one of the best comments. I was like, that's funny. but you know, no, literally what it was, we made it up. We literally were sitting around, and you know, I mean, he alluded to this, but we literally would sit around in the weight room for 3 hours at a time, and Boyd would try to throw us out. We'd do his workout because he would get mad, and then we'd do our own workout afterwards. And but yeah, we kind of lived in the place. That's where it happened. We literally were all just sitting around our offensive line, and we made it all up. So
absolutely. You know, I think what was interesting was the socks up piece of it. These guys, they did it with me. We grew mustaches and lamb chops, and you know, we were having fun with it, right? The socks up thing, it literally, after that year, I mean, our team, everybody wore socks up, and it seemed like it went national. But the coolest part was our foes, our enemies. There's two stories here. So we played Colorado. Rob Zadishka gets the idea to come to our meeting the night before and said, did you guys see the news clip? Colorado defensive line got off the plane with pipe cutters. And so we all fell for it. We're like, what? Oh, it's on now. It was on, but now it's really on, right? So like we needed extra motivation. We'll come to find out, you know, I don't know, maybe a year later, I think Rob let everybody know that he had us. But during the game, before we went out for that first series, You know, you're all fired up. You're looking across the way, and there's their defensive line, and they all go down and they pull their socks up. And we're like, ooh, no. Yeah. Remember that? Oh, game on. Yeah. So.
You know, it's about to be over, but I got to before you.
It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. I really wanted to, as an adopted Husker, I can think back to watching you against Miami, and there's the picture. The iconic, if you want a definition of what the pipeline was about, it's a picture of you standing, snorting, spewing, and Miami on a knee, choking. Give us your perspective on that photo, that moment, that image.
Yeah, so there was obviously with the players they were quite the talkers. We had made a thing saying, "Hey, we're just going to play the game and see what happens." That's what we said the whole week, and it was very apparent after about halfway through the third quarter, after we had a couple of drives, that they were gassed. And I think pretty much the whole season we just wore people out during football games. If you look, like our rushing yards, it'd be like 5 yards a carry in the first quarter, 7 in the second quarter. I mean, in the second halves of games, I would guess we averaged 9-10 yards a carry. And it just, you get our line blocking with Schlesinger coming downhill with Lawrence Films behind him. You can imagine how you just really don't feel like hitting them towards the end of the game any longer. A lot of really good play. I mean, so 4 of our offensive linemen played pro. Corey played 12 years, and Lawrence, retired early, but was one of the best athletes in the world. So you do the math. That's a lot of good football players hitting you. And I think at that point in time, I think they were completely gassed. And we had done the extra work all year long. We practiced. We went the indoors and turned it up to 95 degrees the whole time we practiced before we went to Miami, so we'd be used to the heat. So I think we were just what was the line? Fatigue makes cowards of us all. So I think that's what happened. And then, the fourth quarter, I think we had 140 yards and they had negative 17 or something like that. So.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Typically did go into a bowl game. We would have 3 or 4 practices and a scrimmage before we would even go down to wherever we were, which was typically, you and I, Citrus and 4 Orange, right? So we were always in Florida. And, I think about when I played in the league, whenever you went to Florida, it took you a while to acclimate, right? Especially if you weren't a Florida team. So they had the advantage, you would think, going into it, and come to find out they only practice 4 times, don't even scrimmage. So our preparation was always top notch. We were, if we weren't prepared, that would be detrimental in Coach Osborne's eyes, and everybody from, the trainer all the way to the head coach, everything in between. A lot of accountability, very high level of accountability and professionalism, and that was it. That was it for us. I think our philosophy was we wanted to start a game condition wise and end the game the same. Right. So in the fourth quarter, I felt like I did in the first quarter. And when the team wasn't running, we were running. And that was our whole motto. We were never walking on the grass. Whenever we touched green, we were running. And so to have that kind of mindset, like Zach said, fatigue makes cowards of us all. The goal in a game was to, first series, they're looking you in the eye. By the third and fourth series, you walk up to the line of scrimmage and they're doing this. They don't want to look at you. So that was our goal. And it was just, we were the better conditioned team, and shame on them. I think that they thought that they were going to roll us over. Yeah. Very talented team, not taken away from that. But I think for us, the talent was the work ethic, the conditioning, and putting that all together and being consistent.
Okay, so pipeline NIL. Pipeline NIL. I want you guys to touch on this for a minute, because there might be some people out there that can, we did a fundraiser out in, Fremont last year. And so, that was kind of the start of you guys putting that pipeline NIL and the things that you guys are going to do for the university together. Talk a little bit about the pipeline and this NIL and how you guys are helping out.
Well, so it was maybe a couple years ago. I read an article. It was the Washington Redskins. They were dubbed the Hogs back when Zach and we were growing up. Super Bowls with Doug Williams and whatnot. They were the Hogs, and the owner for the Washington Redskins, whatever revenue resource that they were trying to do, they were taglining their offensive line as the Hogs. So those guys were, number one, Dan Snyder, probably the worst human being on planet Earth. I'm not even kidding. Well, and then of course, those guys, they wanted a little bit of recognition for people to understand where that started, and it really started with them. And so reading that, I kind of kicked it around with these guys. And I said, I don't want to take anything away from what the university is doing in the pipeline, the tradition there, but I think that we have an opportunity, and we should have done this a long time ago, is really kind of finding and incorporating the original pipeline. And just so there are always ways that you can give back. And so I think our philosophy was, let's start this. Let's see if we can raise some money for these guys. And as this changes with NIL, right, in the portal, probably one of the biggest expenditures that teams have now is retaining athletes. And so not to say that offensive linemen are like that, but money talks, right? And so when you have the resource, and I think 1890 has done a really good job. And Troy said it right out the gates when he got the job. Our number one priority right now is NIL, just because of the recruiting and the retainment of these athletes. And so as much as I think that there are a lot of people out there that don't like it, it's here and it's not going away. And so for us to be able to, with what we do, it's some way, some shape, some form, putting together something to where we can retain an offensive lineman, affirm an offensive lineman, give them opportunities that we would have loved to have had. Now we did a little bit. We did a little NIL, didn't we? Back in the day, we did a phone card
after we graduated.
After we graduated, yeah, we did a phone card, and then your uncle, I think, put together the T-shirts for us and all that. Yeah, so yeah.
A bunch of money being $10,000 and split 5 ways, I mean, but yeah, no, we couldn't make any money until after we graduated. But yeah, the NIL thing's interesting to me. I look back and obviously my opinion is probably skewed because I played pro so long. So, I mean, I kept playing for 3 full college careers after college. But I just look back and was happy that I went through college, and I was just happy to have a scholarship and happy to be there. And the fact that I wasn't making money made it fun. I mean, I can tell you I had more fun being broke in college than I ever had playing pro football. But it's here, like Sty said, it's here. It's not going to change. Hopefully they put some more clear parameters around it. But so the whole thing with the NIL pipeline thing was something that, there was some of the guys that were doing pipeline jerky and some other things were like, hey, if we can help out and do stuff from our year pipeline stuff and help scholarships and that. I mean, the problem with NIL, as I tell people, is it's a beauty contest in college. I mean, they're going to give one person a bunch of money because he's the quarterback and he's pretty boy. And then the lineman who actually saves him from getting killed so he looks pretty playing don't get paid anything. Well, it's not like that in the pros. If you look at pros, linemen get paid. I mean, like more than most positions. I mean, you get your quarterback, your corners, linemen, right? And so it's a beauty contest in college, which needs to change because it should be based on like, okay, who's the really people helping you win versus, oh, all the fans like the guy, the one guy on the team that's the pretty boy. So it will change. It'll end up getting cleaned up, but that's why we started it. And like I said, we always are trying to help out the university when we can. We just want them to win again.
A couple more questions. Both of you guys can answer this question. Most memorable moment as a Husker?
So many, good or bad?
Yeah. On the field, off the field.
On the field. On the green.
No, it's an interesting question because the obvious ones pop up, right? Like winning the national championship was incredible. And I think collectively, I think we could all say that. Not just for ourselves as a team, but for Coach Osborne, for the fans. It was fantastic. But for me personally, one of my favorite all-time moments was I went through some stuff my first 3 years as a player here. And I was approached by Charlie McBride going into my 3rd year. And he asked me if I wanted to play defensive line. And so when a coach asks you that, and he is the guy over there on defense, you know that they're talking about you in meetings. And at that point, I was like, I need to change things. And I told him, I looked at him, I said, I've been doing this for 3 years. It's time for me to turn it up. I appreciate the offer. Okay. So I kept going. And this guy right beside me looked me in the eyes and said, let's go, step it up. And so really, when you get that kind of affirmation, a pat on the back, it meant a lot. But fast forward, going into, maybe third or fourth game our senior year, our team meeting room, we'd always walk in, the coaches be kind of lined, everybody waiting for coach to get up and talk. As I'm going up the stairs, Charlie McBride sticks his hand out to shake my hand. And in his hand, there was a black shirt sticker. And he shook my hand and he handed it to me. And at that moment, I was like, wow, it meant a lot. So for me, like just personally, that was like one of my favorite all-time moments, because there was a lot of things that I had to sort through.
Yeah, I mean, obviously worst was losing the championship game. That was the worst. For me, there's too many good memories to really pick one. Obviously winning a national champion is great, but there was like the meetings. I miss the locker room stuff. I miss screwing around with the linemen in the weight room. People only see the 3 hours you'll watch here tonight. For every hour you're on the field, you're doing something for 100 hours, right? So, games are very, very short in nature. You don't play very many in football. So those are small glimpses of all the time you spend preparing for it. And I always one that kind of enjoyed the preparation for football games. You can ask like the scout team guys, like, oh, Kurt Wiggers and they hate me. I'd always say, like in pros, they have practice squad guys. I'm like, you're going to win a Super Bowl day, but you're going to get beat up on film if you keep doing that, So it was, to me, it's like learning lessons. Like I had older guys than me and coaches that were kind of mentors to me. I tried to be that on a team, and sometimes it's tough love stuff that you need to give them. I loved every minute I was here. We had a great time. We came at the right time. A fun fact, and Ron Brown still coaches, so you guys can actually ask him. I was this close to being a tight end. So they took me down, and he rifled 500 balls at me about every day for a week. And I had good hands in that. And really, we just had a shortage of tackles, or I would have been a tight end here. So that was kind of a fun fact no one probably knows.
Zach had a ton of fun. I'm telling you, this guy, he was always laughing, always joking, working hard. He'd come out. Remember what we call that? The grimace, the grimace shorts, purple shorts. Yeah, it's like 10 degrees outside. And he's wearing shorts, But I think collectively, the amount of work. And Ron Brown, he says this often. It's those hours that are spent. That's where championships are built. They're revealed on Saturday in that Memorial Stadium or wherever we play. But the amount of hours that go into the preparation in football's not fun. Practicing football is not fun. And if somebody tells you it's fun, I don't know. They're crazy. Maybe Zach a little bit, he has fun with it. But football is a very hard sport, and it's not for everybody. And what we went through, I'm telling you, the preparation that we put in made our game days easy. So the real preparation and the hard work that we went through, that was brutal.
And I would just to add to that, I would say, especially in college, and pros is different, but in college, I would say, would I play 47 games? I would say I had 300 practices that were harder than those games, just from the talent we had on the other side of the ball. So you come in, it's Trev Alberts, Perella. So Rainmaker. And then you had, after them, you had the Christian brothers, you had Wistrom, you had Tomich, you had Keneally, those were the people we played against every day. Very few teams we played against were half as good as the guys we had to practice against every day, just to be honest with you.
Talk about our freshmen. Right?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
We still had a freshman team.
So we were unique. So we were the last team that had a freshman football team. So when we were freshmen, that was the last freshman football team. I'm sure a bunch of people that are in their mid 50s, like our age or older, would remember. But The freshmen used to, when you came here, you would play freshman football. This was 99% of people before that did this. You came here, you played freshman football, you played against all the JUCO schools in the central US basically, and your freshman team would play their JUCO school, and then you'd redshirt, and then your third year you'd play varsity for 3 years. I mean, that was just kind of the format back then. So because like I said, we needed linemen to come up and play, or us as freshmen, they wanted us to be ready to play our second year. We redshirted our first year and didn't play freshman football, but they made us go and redshirt and practice with the varsity all week and participate in all the freshman stuff too. So every time we weren't doing a varsity practice or a scrimmage or something, we had to go and do all the freshman stuff also. So we had a really bad freshman year. I'm just telling you, we double practiced the whole year, to be honest. Is basically what it turned out to be, without getting to play a single game. So we did everything they did in every practice, but we didn't get to play in the freshman games or the varsity games. It was awful. And most of these guys don't know that because they didn't have freshman football after that. That was the last year of it. So we really had a bad freshman year. It was tough.
So we had Zach, myself, Rob, Terry Keneally, Dante Jones, Ed Stewart, my 6 guys that did not play freshman ball that redshirted. And our freshman year, we had the #1 defense in the country, our black shirts, across the board. Joe Sims, Kenny Walker, depth defensive lineman, Mike Kroll, Mike Petco, Reggie Cooper, all those guys. I mean, it was insane the amount of talent that we had the privilege of sharpening our swords, if you will, at a young age. But our motto, even back then, we were pretty arrogant, and we were like, okay, we want that coach to say, run it again. So that was our motto. Because if the defensive coach said, run it again, that means we beat the defense. And it happened often.
And some of our coaches are still alive. So this Jack Pierce actually said this in an article or a book or something. If you guys remember Jack Pierce, he was a classic. He said to me in practice one day, and obviously we were doing double duty and you're basically just practicing all the time. And I was tired, kind of sloughing off a little bit. And he said, Wigert, if next year when you're on scout team, you better go harder than I'll be all over you. And I'm like, Jack, I ain't never going to freaking play scout team again. I promise you. And I started for 4 years after that. So I proved him wrong. He actually said that in something he had written one time. He actually remembered yelling at me one day, like, I never going to be on scout team again. Never was the rest of my life.
All right. Okay, time for the Driving the Play this is the Driving the Play question presented by Tom Dinsdale Automotive. Today's Driving the Play question is for you guys. What excites you about this year's Husker team?
Well, there's a lot. But one thing in particular, I think over the last year and a half, what we've seen, and I haven't experienced this since I left at Nebraska, since we left in '94, was Matt Rule's professionalism and everybody underneath him and the level of accountability. I talked about it earlier. And so with those two things, what happens is the little things pile up, right? So if you're taking care of those little things turn into big things, which ultimately, if you do it the right way and you've got a little bit of luck on your side, leads to championship teams. And so with that being said, I think you have a team right now that is very collectively caring about each other, and it's not an individual team. And so that to me is what is kind of standing out, and you're starting to see those little things add up. And again, we're not going to win every game, right? But if they're doing it the right way, and like Coach Rule says, they're putting a product on the field that everybody in this room, Zach and I, the pipeline, everybody that has ever been affiliated with the University of Nebraska is proud of.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see, obviously, we came in, we weren't on a drought like the drought of the last, 30 years it's been, a long time, 25 years. But, we were at a point when we came in the years before us, it was, between 83 and 90 when we came in, where it was the 7 or the 9-win, 10-win. We just, we were always second best in the Big 8. It seemed like we just couldn't get over the hump. I'm seeing a lot of similarities of where they're getting over the hump. And I think the first thing that I see when I look at a team, Rule's a great coach. I think he's a great guy. I think he wants to be here forever, which I think players are smarter than coaches think. I think we have an AD and a coach that want to be here and want to stay here, which goes a long ways. I think the first thing you see is players policing themselves. So if you look, average team NIL, 22 people transferred out. We had 5, and to my knowledge, they kind of wanted those 5. It was kind of an agreed upon that's be best for you. So you have people that want to be here. They want to stay here. I'm sure they have talent. There's plenty of people who could have transferred and gone played other places. I would say the difference with ours is you could have took the guy at a 4th in a position on the depth chart, and he would never wanted to leave. So, and then you see them policing themselves too. I think you can see players, you can tell the attention to detail, the, spending the extra time. The coach going so far, they can't play the game for you. So at some point you got to grow up and do it yourself. And I think I'm starting to see, a team that's believing in themselves. It takes a few years, but I always tell people, and in no way would this have happened. You couldn't have convinced us in a room that we couldn't have beat the New York Giants in a football game. Couldn't have convinced us. Now they would have kicked the crap out of us because I played pros, and they would have kicked the crap. But you could not have convinced us. We would argue the point that we were that good. It takes that mentality to win, and I think with winning and doing it the right way, it'll come. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to watch them play today. It's unbelievable to me. The first time there's been 2 ranked teams in here since when? 2016. You got to be kidding me, man. What did we not lose a game in this stadium for 11 years at one point in time? We didn't lose a game in that stadium for 11 years straight at one point in time. No.
Not playing.
No, that was our redshirt year. Our redshirt year. Yeah. So no game. I never lost a game in the 4 years I played, but that was.
Colorado.
Yeah, Washington beat us, but they won a national championship. But yeah, that's just amazing to me to look how long that's been. But we're ranked now, so hopefully they stay there for the next 20 years. That'd be great. I was telling him, I think one time in preseason we were below 5, and we were so mad that we worked out an extra 2 hours every day.
We appreciate these 2 big fellas. Just a second.
Twice more today. I'll ask this next favor, but for this group, can we stand and applaud for this group, for the pipeline? We're going to take a few questions from you, brought to you by the folks from Custom Cooling and Heating. I'm going to ask a favor. If you have a question for the guys, if you can find your way up to me, we'll take your question. Otherwise, we will get into the raffle. Any questions for these gentlemen before we get into giving away some goodies? They'd rather get the goodies. I am not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that. The raffles sponsored by Carpets Direct. We've got some items for you. Sherry Dickmeyer, if you would please. What are we going to start with? So $200 worth of Omaha Steaks giveaway. Our first winner. 3344483. 483. Bueller. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we've got a couple to give away. So 3344495. It's me. It's me. And she sent somebody else up to get it. Well done. The next winner, 3344540. There he is. Omaha Steaks winner, pack worth $200. Congratulations. So a his and hers Husker Surprise gift card from Best of Big Red. His and hers, 3344544. There it is. I have to repeat this every time we do one of these events. It's only in Nebraska. I've done these all over the country. It's only in Nebraska do you trust the person who says, I won. This is the only place where they don't have to prove. Like, they don't have to prove, hey, no. Let's see the ticket. No, Nebraska Nice is a real thing, man. You guys are way kinder than the rest of the country. I can tell you that. The most popular people in the room, 2 tickets to tonight's. Oh, yep. 2 tickets to tonight's win over Illinois. I said it. 3-3, 4-4, 5-2-3. 5-2-3. See. Yep. Got you covered. Oh, a bottle of whiskey courtesy of Soldier Valley Spirits. Popular person. 3-3, 4-4, 4-8-1. 4-8-1. There look, he was all over that one. Yeah, that's coming to a tailgate near you. That is spectacular in space. We also have some. We want to give away the books, gift cards and books. We do want to, while we can, special thanks to the LNK Drafts and Crafts for sponsoring the Goodly cookies that are on your table. And take the cookies. Gift card and a book. 3-3, 4-4, 5-2-6. 5-2-6. There it is. Yep. We got to do that 4 times. We can do that. Wiegert for the win. 3-3, 4-4-4, 9-8. 9-8. 4-9-8. There he is. One more set. We got 2 more sets. Yep. Here we go. 3-3, 4-4, 4-9-6. 4-9-6. There he is. Winner. One more here. 3-3, 4-4, 5-0-5. 5-0-5. There he is. And then special added value. Vershawn, can you grab that? Yeah, we'll one of the teammates, Right. And here's what we'll ask. We'll ask the guys on there as well. Yep. To give away the signed one. VJ, you want to find a winner for me?
I will. No, let's let Zach.
There we go.
He was right next to Will. Let's let Zach find the winner. So
there we go. Yeah, you did. 3-3, 4-4, 5-4-5. There it is. Sitting up front. Well done. Here's what we're also going to do. A couple things in closing. Again, thanking you. We're going to have the next one November 1st. That will include some of the black shirts, Grant Wistrom, Jason Peter, Jay Foreman. If you want to come to that one, Terrell Farley as well. That's November 1st. Get your tickets. And then here's what we're going to do today. Once I ring the final bell, you can start a line over here. If you want to get pictures, have things signed, there will be order. There will be a process. Starting over here, working your way across the stage. If you could do that. Again, thank you for coming out and getting us all set for this big win over Illinois. Greatly appreciate you guys kicking off this event. And then one final time again, standing ovation for the pipeline. Thank you all. Thank you. We'll meet you here at the stage.
Still using that old, outdated office phone system? You need better. At Hamilton, we offer solutions for the modern office. Whether you have an office full of staff or your employees work remotely and are on the go, seamless call handling is important. Elevate your communication and connect seamlessly with clients and staff with Hamilton Business Phone Systems. Choose better and hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Stevenson Smith Construction